There's Trent.
Oh,
Trent.
good timing.
Hey, I just tried to call you. Hey, we are live. I just clicked go live when you came on. So welcome everybody to the Hardcast podcast.
Hello.
Yes. So tonight we have Trent, who literally just clicked on. You can see in his face, he's still even trying to see what's going on here.
Yep.
And
Just looking at my surroundings.
He had a super busy night. He had middle school girls basketball, correct?
Yeah, I got the dub.
Got the dub. Then you moved on to a school board meeting because you are the superintendent of the school. And now you moved to the Hardcast podcast.
I wear a lot of hats, Brian. A lot of hats.
This is just
another hat's my favorite hat.
Another night in the life of Trent. So
yeah.
Trent, Bailey and I, before we went live, everybody, this is Bailey Schumacher too as well.
Hi.
She's
Thanks
up here.
for having me.
And I'm Brian Baker. But anyway, we talked about kind of what we wanted to go over tonight, but you weren't involved in that at all. So it's all going to be a surprise.
Catch me up to speed.
Okay.
Let's go.
So the first thing we want to do is just kind of catch up with everybody, see how everybody's doing. It's the first of the year, seeing what everybody's plans are doing. Now, Bailey and I touched on it. Now, do you have a New Year's resolution?
Are you talking to me or Bailey?
I'm talking to you.
I can't tell. It looks like you're looking at both of us.
I know. It's crazy.
Everybody. No, not really. I'm not a big resolution guy. I think you and I touched base on this last year when we did our podcast, that it's more about goals that we set for ourselves, and those goals are ongoing. So it's not about a month or a new year. Now, I say that, but then, I look at my year and I have different things I want to accomplish in the year.
Sure.
But I don't necessarily call them resolutions like this year, and I know we're going to get to it, but wanted to do a marathon, right? Never done a marathon before in my life, so that's something that I wanted to do this year. And despite other people trying to talk me out of that, that's something that I'm going to get done. I'm going to get it accomplished. But again, not a resolution. It's just something that I want to do. So I'm going to make good on that and get it done.
So instead of resolutions, what you both are saying to me, instead of setting resolutions, you have goals that you want to get done throughout the year. So you're just doubling down on how badass you are. You're like, I don't need a resolution. I'm just doubling down. I'm working on my strengths, not my weaknesses, right?
You got dealt a king and an ace, buddy.
That's right.
Let's go.
Right. I'm just playing the cards like they're dealt to me, and they just turned out to be freaking great, right? So anyway.
So what about you? Where are you at on that? Are you?
Well, I don't have any resolutions. I don't have any New Year's resolutions. I've had goals for this year that I set last year, right? And I'm just going to try to pursue those, just chase those down, right? So I wouldn't say they're resolutions. They're just like we talked about earlier. They're just goals that we have.
Right.
So,
Haley, what do you think? Where are you at on that one too? You're not getting off the hook.
Kind of just the same thing. I feel like every year I say this is my resolution, I always fail. I don't know. I think that word is kind of intimidating. But goals I like. I feel like
which word? Resolution, New Year's resolution, or failure?
Oh, that's tricky. Failure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know. I think like if I just set a resolution and I don't get it like right away, or if I'm not seeing results, I'm like, oh, it's over. But then as far as like a goal, I feel like you can take many little steps to get to a goal. And I feel like I'm more successful that way. So I've set goals like, maybe it's like not even fitness, just like reading more or like reading more motivational books. And like, that's like a big goal for me because I'm not a big reader. So like just little things like that, or just focusing on my nutrition, or, like the other day, just running X amount of miles more than I did last week. Like those are just little baby goals and baby steps that I think make me feel successful. So no resolutions, just goals.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that's what's important. And we've done goal setting before, Trent, right? And you set these big goals, but you got to have the smaller goals to reach those, right?
Yeah.
And then those smaller goals, if you don't hit, we don't consider it a failure. It's just a slight reset to reach that bigger goal. Right. And now that we're talking about goals, we all have one common goal.
We do.
Together, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why, Bailey, we're introducing you tonight, because you're actually Hardline Health and Fitness first sponsored athlete.
That's right.
Let's go, Bailey. Big time.
I think a lot of people are like, that's awesome. why is she getting sponsored, right? And I think the important thing is because out of all we train a lot of people do our programming, but honestly, Bailey, and we slightly touched on this before we came on, but Bailey's one that really hits the gym, hits it hard, but she takes that fitness outside of the gym and challenges herself in other ways. Because a lot of people just use the gym as their challenge, right? Like setting their goals. I want to work out 5 days out of every 7, 5 days out of every week. But Bailey really takes herself and then moves it outside. And it just happens to be running this time, right? So just tell us a little bit why you think that's important to challenge yourself outside of the gym and not just in the gym. Because you're gaining all this fitness, you might as well do something with it.
Yeah,
so
totally.
What are you doing?
I guess that kind of goes back with one of my goals. Obviously, one of our goals, which we'll probably talk about later, is the marathon.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think it's good. When I started out in Wiggins, I kind of got put with a little group, like a fitness group at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And I've loved that. And so I've stuck with it the past few years. But once I get in at 5 a.m, I do my workout. And then half the day is through and I'm like, all right, that's it. I already did my workout, but I feel like I need to do more.
Sure.
So I'll always just even if it's a simple thing such as going out and walking, I'll just go walk and stuff. Right. But I want to also train to I like to train in the morning, but then I like to have something to look forward to later on as far as whether that's a race, like a 5K. Usually sometimes I'll try and do 5Ks or 10Ks. I sign up for random races throughout the year. Right. And I think that's kind of fun and test my ability, and trust the process, right? I get up at 5 a.m, go work out, go do that, go on my walks. And then I see it translate outside of just the gym by doing those races.
Gotcha.
Which I think has been huge. And I've surrounded myself with people that kind of want to do that too and want to try and challenge themselves and push themselves a little bit. I've never really been a runner. I was never a runner, distance wise in high school. I was never a big lifter or anything.
Right.
So, as far as getting out and doing that stuff, it's been really cool to see myself do that and to push myself into, this marathon. I'm I would have never guessed I would be running a marathon here.
Well, let's set the record straight. Let's set the record straight before you get too far, because this marathon was on your radar before it was on any of ours.
It was.
Yes.
And that's because I have ran so many half marathons.
Right.
But I'm all right, I think I ran 4. I'm okay, it's time. I just got to do it. I have to just say I did it. I have to do it just to push myself. Okay, 13 miles. Yeah, it's tough, but I want to see myself just go even more. So that's when I signed up, because the week after I ran that half, it was a discount. It was if you signed up in that week, you get a discount. I'm
That's right.
I'm doing it.
I remember that story.
Yeah,
Because you were signed up way early, a year in advance. Yes.
I was signed up a year ago.
Yes.
And then I kind of just forgot about it. And then I realized, oh shit, it's coming up on me. So that's when I pulled you guys in. And then now here we are.
Here we are. And Trent, you've run half marathon distance before as well.
Once.
Self-supported. Yeah, self-supported.
That was great.
One time. That's all you need, right?
That's it.
That's it. And now you're moving into the marathon realm as well. And you guys have just really started your training program for that, your training blocks, right?
Right. Yeah.
And how is it going? Did you think it would be that much running? It sounds stupid, right? We're running a marathon. So
right.
It's a large amount anyway. But in the training, did you really think it would be that much running?
I thought there'd be more, honestly.
Okay.
The way that you've got it kind of pegged with 4 days a week, I thought it'd be pretty much 5 to 6 actually.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I thought the miles would be more.
Gotcha.
Right now we have Bailey 2 days a week. We're running 3 miles. 1 day a week we're at 60 minutes. And then, the big day, I think we just both got done with 12 miles. So seeing that and realizing, kind of looking at it and seeing, about a 10% increase each week, I think is kind of done with that. But it's kind of looking like the math. I'm not a math guy, but it looks close to that.
That's exactly what we're shooting for. 10% increase over 3 weeks. Then we back off.
Then back off for this week, right? We got 8 miles this week, right? And then back up, or 10 miles this week. I can't remember. It'll get to me on Saturday. But like the way that is, and I'm seeing it's just a lot of kind of time on feet, right?
That's all it is. Yeah.
Seeing what we're doing now. With that said, and I don't know if you guys talked about this or not, the speed portion of it, right? Like the 45 minutes where it was the interval training where you're going a minute 30 and then you're not resting, but you're going a comfortable pace for 3:30.
Right. Yeah.
Really like that. And I could see how that can, and I guess I'm looking forward to that again.
Yeah.
But understand how that could probably cause injury if you did it too much.
It is. And that's why we just kind of incrementally creep up and then we start our speed work. It's not a high volume of speed work, right? It's just like training our body to get used to turning over that quickly because we're gaining our aerobic base by slow, right? To get fast, you got to run slow, but you got to remind your body.
Can I run slow?
I'm great at it.
I'm going to tell you guys what.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's a cool program, but it also allows you guys, because you have other focuses as well, to get into the gym and still do what you like. Like Bailey still likes the 5 a.m. workout with her crew. You still want to lift, so I think it allows that flexibility.
That's one thing I think you asked both of us kind of our goals through this early on. What are we looking at? Do we, and Brian asked me specifically, because he didn't want to be rude to Bailey, I guess, and ask her how much weight she wanted to weigh. Little bit sexist.
I wasn't going to ask.
Little bit.
That's
right?
funny.
And I'll take it. But, he asked me how much weight do you want? What weight do you want to be at the end of this? And when you asked me that, I weighed 186. Just got done with a 8-week program where it was going heavy lifting, and you kind of asked about those goals, right? So one of the goals wasn't a resolution, but a goal was to make sure my weights were for the 1,000-pound club. I could still deadlift, back squat, and bench over 1,000 pounds. So made sure I met that. So that goal's taken care of for this year. Now it's preparing, but I don't want to lose what I've gained, right?
Sure.
So really enjoy the programming doing and matching it up with a lifting program at the same time and making sure that still being able to keep the volume, the intensity is probably down in my lifting, but I'm able to keep the volume. And that's something that I appreciate with the program that you've kind of designed.
And I think we're all going to see that, right? Like obviously I love high intensity training. But as we move into these longer miles, when I go into a CrossFit workout, I know it's got to be down a bit, right? Because I don't want to risk injury. And honestly, with the training I've been doing, I can't really kick it up that much. I can feel that I don't have it like I did.
And
there's the pendulum swings, right? You start doing a lot of aerobic conditioning, maybe you're going to lose some strength because you might lose some weight, and it's just the way it is.
You probably need to lose some weight, right? You're going to be faster. You're going to be able to move better.
But I'm with you. I don't want to lose a ton of gains, and I don't want to lose a ton of weight.
Right.
But I know it's bound to happen.
You need to tell people what you're doing because you make Bailey and I look like infants.
No, I don't. So I'm running the marathon with you guys on May 5th. 2 weeks prior to that, I do have a 50-mile race in Michigan. And then after May 5th, about a month and a half after May 5th, I do have a 100-miler. So it's just
little things.
But I'm like, Bailey, I've done the half. I moved to a marathon. I've done 3 marathons, moved to a 50, done the 50. Now let's just go to the next thing, right?
Why not?
But that's why I'm running super slow too. Because
I think I asked you that the other day. I said, "Are you shooting for a specific time on this marathon?" He's like, "No, I have a 50-miler the week before." I'm like, or 2 weeks before. I'm like, oh, okay, makes sense.
Yeah. So it's a training run for sure. Yeah. And when we talked about this last year during volleyball, I said I'll totally be in with you on that one, and I'll just use it as a training run. But then, you hope your ego doesn't get to you and and stuff like that. Because, shit, man, I mean, you could beat us by a long time. Bailey could smoke us on this. Yeah, she'll be at New Belgium Brewery probably like 2 or 3.
She'll be about 4 beers in by the time I show up. You definitely will.
I don't know about that. Like the
So-
other day with the 12 miles, it felt pretty good. I felt pretty strong, but I'm thinking, how the hell am I supposed to go 14 more?
Well,
And it's all going to work out. It will. I
We'll
promise
find a
you.
way, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Bailey,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, you sent those numbers, and I got a little pain in my heart because I was like, oh my God.
That was
She
a
ran a
really good day. I
9:15.
felt good that day.
Yeah,
She ran a 9:15.
9:15. And that was my first mile. And then it went to the last mile. I was at 12. For the 12th mile, I was at 12 something, and my average pace was 10:43. So I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be ugly. Which again, I'm not in it for time. No, none at all. But I love that you have that, and yeah, don't stay with me. You just go.
I just had to send it.
Mark,
just so
thank you. Thank you, Mark. Dan Alley says, hey, guys.
Hey,
So,
fellas.
thanks, Dan. Thanks for watching, buddy. Anyway, go ahead, Bailey. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I was just saying I just had to send it just to hold myself accountable because that was like that run. Like I said in the text, I said I wish I could feel this good running every time. Like that.
Well, what I loved about it is, it holds you accountable, but it's also a snapshot of where you're at right now, right?
Right.
And honestly, you do have volume. You have a good volume base, right? And then Trent just started, so it's easy to compare yourself to somebody else and be like, Jesus, that was my first mile. But you have a lot of volume just built up. You've done a lot of high volume training, and you just have a good base where we're starting with Trent. I mean, he was doing 1,000-pound club 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, that's basically just starting to run. You know what I mean? So
I do think like the difference.
Here we go. Wow. Well, Mom, Bailey's famous on TV with these guys.
That's right.
Yeah.
So famous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, super
Miss
famous.
Schumacher.
Yes. So any sponsors that are watching and listening, go ahead and shoot Bailey a DM.
Right here.
We'll get her in some shoes and some kits for this run, and we'll go from there. Thank
Our
you.
sponsorship only goes so far, Bailey. Sorry.
That's right. I'm honored.
Maybe
be
next
with
year.
you, and this is
Maybe
great.
next year we can get more.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're concentrating on now, which I think is freaking awesome. Trent, why do you think it's important? We already touched with Bailey on this. Why do you think it's important to take your fitness outside the gym?
Guys, I'm afraid of the hospital, right? I mean, I'm 45 years old. I look at the news I'm getting about friends from college or
Sure.
people's brothers that are 55, 60, and there's a lot of heart attacks. There's a lot of people that are just not in good health. And I'm scared of that. I really am. I don't want to be. We talk about our hard, right? Like everything's hard. Getting an A in class is hard.
It was for me.
Right? It's hard. But getting an F is hard as well.
Yeah.
You got to choose your hard, right? What hard do you want to go down?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I've framed myself as, and to get outside of the gym. I think lifting, to me, I really like it. I've enjoyed it. Brian, when I met you, I mean, I've known you for quite a while, but then when started the CrossFit thing, it was on a bet, right? So it was bet on the Super Bowl. It was this week, I believe we made that bet.
It's true.
15 years ago, 12 years ago, whenever that was. I was probably 32 at the time, I think. So 13 years ago, and made that bet. And San Francisco was in it. Baltimore, so whenever that year was.
Oh, yeah.
And it was whoever won the Super Bowl, you were going to come in and do the 5x5 training that I had going on, or I was going to go with you and do a CrossFit workout. And went to the CrossFit gym, and I loved it, right? You changed my whole attitude towards fitness, because being in the gym, lifting, that's one thing, but then it actually felt like competing again. So
and that's what I was going to say. That's why I think CrossFit was such a good fit to you, because there's natural competition,
right?
Right. Whether you get involved in it or not, there was a whiteboard there with your time.
Yeah.
And you came at 6 a.m. You're one of the first scores on that board, right? And then you come in the next day, see where you ended up. So that, you're a competitor your whole life, and Bailey's the same way. I mean, she has more state championships than us added together, which is real tough.
Oh, go Reds! Go
Reds.
But I mean, you're a natural competitor. That's why CrossFit, I think, fits a lot of people. but that's also why I think CrossFit turns a lot of people off.
It does.
So,
you're right. And so there's got to be that balance, right? And I know you're a competitor, both of you are, and Bailey talks about her 5 a.m. group. They're in there competing every day, right?
Mhm.
And it's not just competing against everybody else in the gym, which you are. I mean, there is a little bit. You're like, you want to get it done, but against yourself, because you are going to see these things again, and you want to know that you're getting better in life, right? If you're standing still or if you're not making gains, you're dying, and I don't want to. I want to make gains. I want to get better. But Brian, you touched on it of, okay, there's so many things we can do, right, outside of the gym instead of just lifting or just running or just CrossFit or just powerlifting. It's so good to just make our bodies adapt and do different things.
Right.
I'm learning through this how inflexible I actually am, right?
Oh,
so
boy. Yes.
my psoas muscles are so tight. I get about 6 miles in. Brian, you ran with me last week. You knew it. You're like, how you doing, bud?
Yeah.
You knew about right when it hit because you started asking, you all right? Are you good? And I'm like, yeah, they're barking. I mean, I can hear them. But I have to get better at that, right? I don't want to be that guy that, man, the zombie apocalypse comes. The thing's going to chase me down for 6 miles. I want my buddy to get eaten, not me. I'm going to keep running, bud.
That's exactly right.
So I think.
Well, what's funny with that psoas thing, and your hip flexor thing is like, we're not running super fast. So we're not striding out. It's not like we're on a track doing speed work, which we do, but
right.
You do your longer runs like you're doing. They are going to start barking because we're running a small little step every time. So they're not stretching out.
No.
You know what I mean? So
it's just good. I like taking it out and seeing where.
Well said, Dan.
And Dan just said it, well-rounded, right? I want to be a well-rounded, and not just an athlete, but as a person. And I think we stretch ourselves in a variety of areas, not just fitness. That's what we're here for.
Right.
Not to get stagnant, not to get in one place. So, no, I appreciate what Bailey said. She's exactly right. And I know you, Brian, you do more than any of us, and you dabble here and dabble there. And
we try to do as much as we can, right? And what's fun is you just got to find what's fun to train right then, right? And we talked about this the other day, and if you find something that you enjoy, stick with it, But, like you walk into this marathon training, like if you didn't enjoy it at all, that's a long 4 months to prepare. So, and then you get to that, you get to the race, right? And that's like the culmination, the celebration. Like I get to run this marathon today and see how much this training has been. You don't want to get there and be like, let's just get this thing over with, dude. I'm sick of this. You don't want that. That's not cool.
You don't. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think that's why I also like just doing CrossFit, like 4 days of running and then CrossFit 2 or 3 days, or maybe even subbing a running workout for a CrossFit, like a tough CrossFit. I do like the cross training because it isn't just like running. And that's exactly what I thought this would be. So I think I even texted you earlier before we started this. I was like, so can I like do different stuff? And you're like, of course. Like, absolutely. And I think that's helped too, just made me stronger. Like even running 12 miles the other day, it felt so good. Like if I would have had to just run and run 12 miles, I think I would be bored and done by next week, Well,
like we've always said, you don't have to.
The cross.
You don't have to. You never have to apologize for being too strong or too fit.
Right.
And keeping with that CrossFit training, your cross training just going to make you a stronger runner, right? Because you're still building that base of running. You just may be subbing a 3 mile workout out for a hard ass CrossFit workout.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
And as fast as you're running, that's really just a quick CrossFit workout.
I don't know. I think the other day was like the 100 burpee workout, and I did that, and I'm like, oh God, I still have 3 more miles to go. And then you run for the day, and you're like, like if you do a hard workout, you don't have to do the run. I'm like, all right, you said it. All right, I'm good.
Love it out, yeah. So
then I almost feel guilty.
Well,
I still need to go run.
I could see that because you had done that in the morning, and you said you look forward to that like other like stimulus at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so when you don't get it, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Am I losing ground? It's like, no, you're not. You actually, are you taking any rest days?
I am. Okay. Like this last weekend, I took Sunday and then I used my Monday as my 12 miler. So I am. I'm
Oh,
kind of
that's
like
right.
listening to my body a little bit, if
Good.
I am overdoing it, which
Right.
I'm pretty good about that. Or just
Yeah.
like subbing my rest day for like a mobility day just to kind of keep my body moving but not tiring it out.
Yeah, just make it intuitive. That's
Right.
if you have, like you said, you wake up and you're like, I'm not feeling an 8 miler today. Well, maybe you're feeling a 4.
Right.
But I think I stole this. It's not something that I made up, but if you're like feeling like you do not want to run, just go out for 10 minutes. Just make it a 10-minute run.
Mhm.
If you go out and you're 5 minutes away from your house and you're like, this sucks, turn around because you got 5 minutes back. You still got 10 minutes in. But I almost guarantee you get 10 minutes in, you'll be like,
Mhm.
I can get some in.
It's almost like once you get going, you're kind of sometimes you just go numb and you just keep going.
Yeah. Well, and like
hard
Trent,
stuff.
I've always said that the hardest thing about working out is just showing up.
Showing up,
Yeah.
especially at 5 a.m., Bailey.
Yeah.
That is.
I
It
couldn't
always
do that.
feels so good after.
Once you're there.
Yeah.
Brian, you talked about taking it outside of the gym, and one thing you might be wanting to touch base on this in a little bit. But another thing that takes it outside of the gym is your nutrition, right?
Mhm.
And that's something that with each program that I do and the individuals that, we're training on those, depending on what it is, we're changing up the nutrition, right?
Mhm.
So this is something that I'm experimenting with right now. So, okay, do I want high fat, low carb, or do I feel better with high carb, low fat, and just altering those days? Do I like the carb cycle? So I'm in week 4, tried a week of just straight high fat, basically no carbs. Then the next week went to high carb, low fat. Now the last 2 weeks I've carb cycled just because I want to experiment, see how my body reacts.
Yeah.
And what I want. So I enjoy that process too. Taking that fitness, like you said, out of the gym. I feel like the nutrition piece is one of those as well. And just the balance and what works.
Well, you touch on the nutrition piece, and then something that we'll talk about maybe on another podcast when we all get together. Because Bailey, you're going to get roped into these till May 5th for sure. But you got nutrition outside of the gym and outside of your running. But in a marathon, you have to have nutrition inside too.
Mhm.
So then you got to start toying with what electrolytes do I like? What carb drink do I like? What could I eat? Could I eat a honey stinger waffle, or do I like goose, or what do I like, right? Or do you just roll the dice and say, I'll just take what they have at the aid stations, which I really say don't do, because if you don't like it, then you've got a messed up gut for 20 miles, right? So,
and that's something. So what, like right now, Bailey, did you do any nutrition on the 12-mile? Brian, do you? I know you had a 17 last week. I haven't touched that at all yet.
I haven't either, and I never did with my half marathons either. But on Monday, I went to Runner's Roofs. Shout out to Runner's Roofs. Got a new pair of shoes, and I also got some of the gels too to try. Yes. So as we train and get into those higher miles, I'm going to start to try those and see what works and what doesn't work. So
because depending on what you read, you want to get 150 to 250 calories per hour. Of stuff, and we're going to be out there an extended period of time. You're going to have hydration with calories, or just hydration, and then you take your calories with goose. I do goose, I do honey stinger waffles, and then I do carbohydrate drink as well. So, and I got a runner's vest now that has 2 20-ounce flasks, easy to drink. So something to toy with. But in the marathon too, there's going to be aid stations. I don't remember where all the aid stations here are on this one. So it could be an extended time where you're going 6 to 8 miles maybe without an aid station. So you got to carry hydration and gels. So
something to keep you going.
Yeah, we'll cover that and just see what everybody's doing and how it's working for them. Obviously, like the 100-mile race, they say it's just an eating competition for 100 miles because you've got to be eating that whole time.
And they're saying 150 calories per mile, per hour.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow. Per mile.
Yeah.
You're looking at, that's just a day worth of eating. That's all you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going into aid stations, you're eating quesadillas, you're eating, sandwiches, you're eating ramen noodles. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it works.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Let me know how it goes.
Yeah, I will. With that being said, we're talking about competition, this and that. And Bailey and I touched on this. 23 days till the CrossFit Open.
Oh,
Yeah. See, now Bailey, we kind of explained to Bailey what that is, and she, without even knowing, she probably did all the CrossFit Open workouts last year, because I know Jay Lynn's group did. So CrossFit Open is 23 days away. It's $20 to sign up. This year, different from last year. The years prior, 10% moved on to the quarterfinals. This year, 25% are moving on to the quarterfinals. Is that something you guys are going to do? Sign up for?
You go first here.
Sure.
I have never signed up for the CrossFit Open.
You've done it. Yeah.
You know I'm cheap.
Yep.
But whatever, I'm going to keep that $20. However, I love participating in it.
Right.
And I do. I think if you are an athlete and you like to compete and you're doing CrossFit, even if you're not doing CrossFit, you can scale it. You can do things, and it just lets you know where you're at, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can go to the whiteboard and look and see where everybody else is. And of course, you're not going to be on there because I've never have been,
right.
Just never paid. But I can see some things like, oh man, yeah, I got this guy beat, or that one, and so I love it. And I'm absolutely going to do it. I haven't done CrossFit since November because I started this other program. But I always, would have something in there. So I'm still going to be all right, but probably going to scale some things. We get some overhead squats. Those aren't so good for me anymore.
Right.
You're going to have to scale a little bit, but definitely going to participate in it. I think it's great to test your overall adaptability as an athlete, what you can do, what you can't do. You get to know your strengths. You get to know some weaknesses, and it's just going to make you better, right? And so I like it. You too?
Bailey?
I might just piggyback off that and just say, yeah, we're going to participate. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because it'll be programmed every Friday for 3 weeks. But
Brian actually pays for it, right?
I do.
Now, I don't know about last year or the year before, but before that, you were in quarterfinals. You made it pretty deep. Let's talk about that a little bit, huh, bud?
Yeah. In the years prior, I think 2021 was the only no, I did it in 2021, got in the accident in 21, did not do it in 22.
Okay.
Did it last year. So the last 2 times I've done it, I have made quarterfinals when it was the 10%, made it to the age group online qualifier. Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I do pay for it because I want to see where I am worldwide. I'm just that guy that you could do the math like you're saying, and you could go in there and kind of plug away and see where you'd be. But I like being ranked. I like seeing where I am. I like knowing exactly what percentile I am in the world in overall and in my age group. And then I love to move to that next stage because then the skill level, the intensity level, and the just the workout itself gets more difficult. And I've seen it in the Open since we owned the gym in years prior. We always do the Open, but the coolest thing about the Open is you're always going to get a first in something, right? Whether it be somebody getting their first double under, whether it's somebody's getting their first bar muscle up or something like that. Somebody always hits something that they wouldn't have done, and they only do it because it's the Open.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're pushed just that little bit more. There's just like overhead squats. There was a year prior that, I did overhead squats. I like overhead squats, and it came up to be a 165-pound overhead squat. And I thought, there's no way I can do this workout. And I was able to string 12 of them together. It's just things like that. And then, the rest of the workout crushed me, but I was able to do something that I did not think was even possible. And that's what I think the Open brings out. It's just the magic of the Open. And we don't have Farm Boy CrossFit anymore, where we had the Friday night lights, and it was just a cool thing. But we have it now where we can do it and we can get together and do it. And I think it's super cool.
Yeah.
So I'll be signing up just to see how it goes. I push everybody to do it. And I think you said it best, whether you're doing CrossFit or not doing CrossFit, or your focus has been on something else, see where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Take a snapshot, right? Yeah, we're all kind of focused on running right now, but I guarantee you these open workouts we're going to be able to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
I love the community of it and bringing people together. So I think you're right. We need to look at our calendars. We need to look and see what we can do and try to bring everybody together in the gym over here at the school.
Yeah. Yeah. Set up some times and do a couple of heats and get people through.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, we don't have to judge each other. We don't have to no rep each other,
No.
like we used to do. But it's fun just
No
to
rep.
sit together.
Horrible.
Yeah.
No rep. No
That
rep.
was, yes.
My feet were on the box jump at the same time. No rep.
I hated judging people just
It was
because,
the-
you would see something, you're like, sorry, that's not a rep. Like somebody's just working their ass off on toes to bar, and you can see them just tiring out and have to drop down and reset up for another toe to bar, and they just don't get their feet there. You're like, sorry, man. Or the chest to bar.
Alternating dumbbell snatches, and people just put their hand on their knee. Oh,
Yes.
No rep. Oh, God, you did it again. No rep.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, I think it's important. I think it's important to test yourself, and then you just move from there, And our focus may not be CrossFit. We're trying to tackle this marathon, but we can still test ourselves in other aspects. Like you said, be well-rounded, like Dan Alley said. So,
Yep.
Right.
I think it's cool. I really do.
Outlift the runners and outrun the lifters. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Just try to not suck at anything. That's
Right.
basically what we're trying to do, right? And then try not to let Bailey beat our ass too bad in this marathon. That's what we're trying to
I
do.
think you guys are really talking me up. Now I feel like I need to be good.
She won't send us.
I like the pressure.
She won't send us her numbers anymore.
No,
We'll
be all secret.
I'm glad Brian's coming off of a 50, and he's on a recovery run, so he won't just run past me. And I mean, he can, whatever. You probably will, but
he probably will, and he'll probably be like 6 beers in.
Well, yeah, I saw his 7 mile or 5 mile run, and you were at a 7.
That was the threshold training, though. That was the threshold training. I was supposed to try to go fast.
Come on,
Yeah,
man.
that was fast.
That was fast.
I was actually pretty happy. I didn't think I could do it either. So, but I had to get that 7:53. I had to run a 7:29 last mile. I had to really open her up.
You were moving.
Wow.
But yeah, guys, that's kind of what I had was basically where we're at, just catching up, seeing where everybody's doing, introduce Bailey to everybody, and then kind of go from there. We still got to come up with our sweet logo for our running stuff.
Passion project.
For our Hardline Passion Project. So I've got some ideas, and then I'll send them your guys' way. If you have anything, send them my way, and then we'll get it printed up.
Okay.
We'll look pretty sweet. So,
Good work, you two.
Matt, you guys have anything?
No,
I'm hungry.
thanks
I'm
for
gonna go
having
eat.
me.
Oh, no problem.
Thanks
Yeah,
Get home.
you're gonna be in a lot of these, so just get used to it.
Sounds good.
But thanks, guys. Thanks for joining me, Trent. I know you had a super long night. I apologize. So,
No, this is good. Good.
Okay.
Good to be back.
Bailey, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having
We'll
me.
let you know when the next one's going to be. We'll just kind of check in again and see how everybody's doing, and then see how everybody's doing in the open.
Sounds good.
Go get
Actually,
it,
we'll do a
hardliner.
pre-open one. We'll do a pre-open one. See how everybody's gearing up. If they're getting nervous, what movements they're nervous about. And Trent, that's going to be overhead squat and squat snatch or pistols. So,
Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah. We might have to bring in some of the 5 a.m. crew too, and kind of do a round robin.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to your girls in the morning.
What they like, what they don't
Yeah.
like. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
It will be fun.
Very
Yeah.
fun.
And they're going to throw down. You guys are good on your burpees? Still doing your burpees? Still going? I see. Yeah, okay. Not a problem.
You are apparently.
Let's
I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying to get it in. Some days have been just get it in. Or some days I'm like, hey, let's do devil's press instead. Shake it up.
The quarter mile a day in February was easier for me than this one.
That
this
one
is
was
a tough challenge.
really.
It is. Yeah.
I think it's just tough to fit in.
We've done it before, and I did it last time, but right now
Yeah.
I'm struggling. I think it's the running and basketball and me not wanting to.
Yeah.
That's right.
Burpees are stupid.
Me making excuses to not do them. Yeah.
I hear you.
No
I
excuses.
hear you. I hear you. Well, guys, thanks for joining me. As for the Hardcast podcast, we'll end it here. We'll see you in a week or two, right?
Sounds good.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll figure out another time. But guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
See
See you
you.
later.
Bye-bye.
Oh my